You want to be inside your lowest level of the floor or the room, interior room. Stay away from those windows. And of course, if you're in a mobile home, vehicle, or outside, move to the closest shelter, whether it be at a gas station, be in the freezer. Protect yourself from any flying debris. Definitely is dangerous. Get those shoes on. Make sure you have your shoes on, laced up. No flip-flops, no sandals. You want to protect your feet as well. Protect your head with blankets, helmets, or even a mattress, coats, pillows, you name it, and get in your safe spot, especially if you're in and around the burn area, as well as domestic too, as this continues to move to the east at about 70 miles per hour. And I know David's been closely monitoring the National Weather Service chat, and he has some updates on what's happening and what these cells are producing.
Yeah, Beverly, in addition to this tornado warning, you mentioned the hail threat. We've seen a lot of reports of large hail, over an inch, primarily in Wells County. We got a report of 1.5 inch sized hail out of Dillman in Wells County, and we've also received a report of 1 inch sized hail out near Decatur. So in addition to that tornado, these are hail producing storms, and if you're caught outside, that has the potential to seriously injure you or pets. So even if a tornado is not being produced right now, you definitely want to be inside, away from windows.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Wells is going to be dropped off of this warning box. In Adams County, we are going to continue that tornado warning until 7 o'clock this evening. Burn right to the south and east of Burn. We're going to go to our velocity, kind of see what's happening here. And we've been talking about rotation and kind of what is it? It's where the inflows and outflows, kind of the rotation or the circulation, where we watch and keep close tabs on, because the tighter the rotation, that's not something we want. The broader the rotation, that means it's still closer to the cloud tops, up aloft, and not close to the surface. So that is something we look at. So you can see from south of Burn to Bryant, where we see that broad rotation, it's when you get those very bright reds and bright greens together. So what we're seeing right here is the potential for a capable of producing a tornado, but nonetheless, we're still seeing that rotation. And this cell has honestly kept its characteristics since about Grant County. So it's held a lot of that.
We've been watching this cell now for a good hour, if not longer. This has held itself together for a while.
But nonetheless, it is capable of producing 2-inch sized hail.
That is correct.
With this system, and it is moving to the east at about 70 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a tracker on this cell really quickly. It's just to the south of Burn. We're closer to about 27 right at this moment in time. Let me redo that, reset this tracker. So we're looking at Burnsville in about 9 minutes. Granted, it is outside of that warning box. However, we've been talking about how it's been keeping its characteristics, of course, of the hour 15 minutes that we've been here with you guys, but you do want to make sure you stay in your safe spot and honor that polygon.
And you know, on that topic, you kind of pointed out the rotation to me even before we got our first tornado warning issue. So for folks in Burrsville who may not be in that warning yet, it is a good idea to prepare for a warning down the road in case this does continue to hold together.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about how this environment has been very rich. It's what we hate to see on a day like today. We have all the ingredients in place and we lost all that cloud cover. And once that cloud cover was gone, it just gave us that fuel for these storms. And you see how robust these are. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings extending basically from central Wabash and Huntington counties across Grant and also towards the Blackford counties. And these have been warned because of the strong gusty winds that are associated with these and some very large hail. You've been combing over some hail reports. These are dangerous size hail. We've had ping pong ball size hail reported. Go ahead and talk a little bit more about that.
It's hail of many sizes. Ping pong ball, like you said, quarter, $half size. And in addition to here in our area, just outside of our area, we're also getting reports of hail of 1.5 inches up to 2 inches in size. So again, very large hail. And we're also getting reports, too, of some wall clouds around the area with this tornado warned storm, So we're continuing to watch that. And if we do get anything additional, I'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to reset the stage here with this tornado warning that's in effect for Adams County. It looks like Mercer County, you're now in a severe thunderstorm warning. So they have chosen not to extend this warning into your county, but still do not leave your guard down, my friends. Your severe thunderstorm warning for Mercer County is until 7:15, and this cell is capable of producing a tornado. This is just south of Bern, that severe part of the cell. But with this severe thunderstorm warning, some very heavy downpours, some strong and gusty winds in excess of 70 miles per hour, and we're looking at a lot of lightning with that cell as well. But nonetheless, did you have a rotating wall cloud? Is that what that looks like?
Perhaps, yes. This is coming out of southern Adams County near the Jay County line, just west of Bryant.
Okay, and it's emergency manager in Jay County.
That is correct.
Samantha reporting on what we use a lot is the National Weather Service chat, and it's a lot of spotters and emergency managers and a lot of folks and the ham radio operators that really help us out. There are spotters there. They're the boots on the ground that really help us out and really give us that bird's eye view or even a ground view of what's actually happening out there. And it looks like where the tornado warn storm is definitely a wall cloud extending down from the heart of that cell. It's definitely packing some strong winds and some very heavy downpours with that cell. Maybe we can download that and show that to our viewers. But nonetheless, this tornado warning is until 7 p.m. for Adams County. I'm going to put this in motion. And we've been talking about how quickly these storms have been moving.
These are moving remarkably fast. At 70, 75 miles per hour, they are racing through this area. And that's, again, where we talk about preparing ahead. You may not have a storm on top of you right now, but with as fast as these storms are moving, it could be on you in the next 10, 15 minutes. So just make sure you are preparing ahead in case these storms hold up. Be ready if you get a warning and be ready to go to your shelter. Have that shelter identified and, just have your plan in place already in case that storm moves over you.
Absolutely. And since this is moving so fast, you can see how the rotation is elongating again. We're going to throw a velocity on it. We're going to keep close tabs on this area right here. It's just north and west of Trinity. So when we get these colors very close together, it's along just to the east of 27 and to the north of 67 near Trinity, where we're seeing some brighter colors, where it's getting a little bit healthier. And this is something we certainly do not want to see. It's kind of been pulsing, what we like to call pulsing storms, where it grabs a lot of energy, gets really strong, and it just kind of blows out all of its energy in a form of rain, hail, lightning. These have been pulsing as we've continued through these evening hours.
That's correct. And again, we're still tracking these storms for large hail. The National Weather Service just a couple minutes ago continuing that warning, still watching for the chance for 2-inch hail. That is very large, very dangerous hail. And of course, a radar indicated tornado that currently located near Rockford or 11 miles east of Bern. And again, racing east at 70 miles per hour with this storm. So
I'm going to pause this real quick if we can put a tracker on. I'm going to get rid of a lot of the clutter that we have on here. We have a lot of lightning strikes.
The other thing the National Weather Service notes, and you can see it on radar, there's a ton of rainfall associated with this storm. So it's not advisable if you're in this warning to try and go outside and see this tornado. A good chance you're not going to be able to see it because of that rainfall. So best case, if you're in Bern or in southern Adams County, just go ahead, get in shelter. We'll let you know when you can come out.
Yeah, it's indicating that we're having rainfall rates exceed an inch per hour. And just like meteorologist David Tillmans, who's alongside of me here in the Severe Weather Center as we're tracking this, that is very, very heavy downpours, much like what a lot of us saw with that second round of showers and storms that blew through the area this afternoon. We had one warning out of that, and that had strong and gusty winds associated with it. And they also were very electrically charged. Here at the station, we had a really quick lightning strike here, and it made the ground shake, and certainly a tree was not spared in our woods here.
I had a little bit too this morning. Before I got into work, I was dealing with the thunder and lightning quite a bit.
Okay, we're going to take off some of this clutter and get right to it yet again. If you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warning that we've been talking about, mostly for Adams County. You can see where all the lightning strikes just to the south of Bern and also to the east of it. It's going to be crossing over into Mercer County right now. Some very heavy downpours associated with this. This is radar indicated rotation. We've been checking our National Weather Service chat, and it hasn't given us a confirmation, but you still want to honor this polygon if you're in the Bern area, if you're you're near Domestic, if you're near 49, if you live in Mercer County, because we've been talking about how this has maintained its characteristics since about right around 5 o'clock this afternoon or shortly thereafter, right near Grant County. It's been trucking along our southern tier counties and keeping its characteristics with it, not only lightning, the rotation, but also the fact that it has very, very large hail. And I know you were looking at that earlier. It was 2-inch sized hail,
Yes,
is that
we're
correct?
seeing hail really anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. These warnings are warning for hail of about 1.5 to 2 inches, and in a couple cases, maybe 1.25. And speaking of that, we do have, real quick, because we do have some other storms on the board, we have a couple new severe thunderstorm warnings, both of these warning for 1.25 inch hail. The first one is until 7:15, and that is for Van Wert County. That also includes Allen and Putnam, Ohio, which is out of our area. And then we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Adams, Jay, and Wells County. That one lasts until 7 o'clock. Now, that is also with 1.25 inch hail. That's $half size. The storm in Wells County, Adams, Jay, and Wells County, that is moving off to the east at 65 miles per hour, currently located 7 miles west of Geneva. And our storm warned for Van Wert County, similarly also moving off to the east at 65 miles per hour. That is currently located near the town of Ottoville.
Yes, and these have plenty of fuel to make them go fast. And you're probably wondering, why are these going so fast across our area? And it's the simple reason is that we tapped into a lot of sunshine. Our temperatures soared into the 60s. We have high dew points across the area. We have plenty of lift to get these storms going because we tapped into that sunshine. Gave us that available potential energy for these thunderstorms to basically blossom across the area. And it's actually along a frontal boundary that is going to continue to track off to the east and southeast as we continue to progress into these evening hours. And it looks like we may have a new warning. Is this correct?
Yes, this is actually a continuation of a previous warning for Huntington and Wabash. This also included the Miami County, which they've gone ahead and dropped.
Okay.
But that storm, just as quick as the rest of these storms, moving east at 75 miles per hour. It is currently located near Huntington. This storm contains 60 mile per hour winds as well as quarter-sized hail, and that is about 1 inch in size.
Okay, and I'm going to put a tracker on it because you said at 75 miles an hour?
Yes, 75 miles per hour moving east.
Moving east at about 75 miles per hour. So it'll be right around Mount Etna at about 6:52, and it looks like towards Liberty Center at 7:04.
Gotcha.
But we're going to reset this and get back to the tornado warned cell. Give me 1 second as I move this over. We've had a few technical difficulties here at the station today, but nonetheless, we have divided and conquered, and we're back on it.
We're chugging forward.
Absolutely. We have this tornado warning. This is until 7 p.m., so we got about 15 more minutes on this. I'm going to see, have you seen any more updates on this cell in particular?
Nothing quite yet. We just got a report of dime-sized hail in southern Wells County, and that's out of a Huntington County EMA. But other than that, we're not receiving any additional updates on that storm.
Okay. I'm going to do one more quick once-over as what is happening across our southern tier counties, and then we're going to throw it back to our regular scheduled programming. So right now, what we have is a tornado warning. This is a radar indicated rotation for Adams County. This is until 7 p.m. It is moving to the east at about 70 miles per hour. The heart of this system is moving into Mercer County right now as we speak. Well, what do you think about that? That's not great.
Yeah, that looks like it's starting to
So this is what we're talking about breathing, where the rotation elongates and then it gets tighter. So this is where we're looking, just north of Trinity. It looks like it's along 49 right here, where
Ohio
you see
State Route 49.
where you get the greens and reds together. That's where we don't want to see it, and you can even attest to that, to what we call coupleting, where we see that rotation, and it looks like it's moving into Mercer County. So if you're living toward, and again, this isn't warned in Mercer County yet, but get in your safe spot. If you live in Burnsville, Shively, or Scudder, I definitely get into your safe space, and we've been talking about that safe space. So go ahead and tell them what their safe space is.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to identify your safe space. You want to move to a room interior of your home, as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and you want to move into a room without windows. Also, do not open windows in any other rooms of your house during a tornado warning. And of course, if you're in a mobile home, you're in a car, anywhere outdoors, you definitely want to move inside. You should not be caught in a mobile home or in a car during a tornado. Do not go under an overpass. If you really have nowhere else to go, lie flat in a ditch and cover your head with your hands to protect yourself from debris. But if you can, make sure you get inside, away from windows, as many walls between you and the outside as possible.
Yeah, so I know that this Mercer County one isn't warned at this moment in time, but we're going to talk about it because it's moving into the county and it right near Scudder. It's not a great situation is what we're seeing. It's still no confirmation, but you still want to heed the warning. We're seeing tighter rotation on this near just north and west near Scudder, moving to the east, and this cell has been tracking at about east of 70 miles per hour, and also resulting in 2-inch size hail. So it's already outside of that warning box in Adams County right now, and it's moving to the east at about 70 miles per hour into Mercer County. So definitely do get in your safe space. And this system has been continuing to blossom across the area. You can even see more cells developing just to the south of Kokomo. So you can certainly tell where this boundary has set up shop, shall I say. It's mostly along and south of the 24 corridor, and we also have another warning outside of our viewing area. So a lot of these cells do have the capabilities to rotate and, of course, produce some very, very large hail, some frequent lightning, torrential downpours on top of, what a lot of us have already received today, which is a widespread of 1 to 3 inches. And we've had a lot of water across the roadways. And, of course, we always talk about if you ever see any water across the roadways, number one, do not drive through it. Number two, do not walk through it. A lot of these storms have had a lot of wind with them, up in excess of like 70 miles per hour. So you don't know if it's electrically charged, and we all want to be very, very safe in situations and definitely just stay inside.
Yeah, and in addition to electrically charged water, you could be stepping on nails, debris. You don't know what could be in that water, and it only takes about 6 inches of water to wash away your car. So standing water is a big danger when you're driving. So definitely avoid any roads that might be covered with water on your commute home.
Okay, well, I am told that we have a nice live shot. The location, if we can pop that up there and see where it's at. We are currently talking with one of our reporters who is out and about. It is Brianna Bias, who is currently out, and she's going to let us know what we're seeing and where she's specifically at.
Hey, Beverly and David. Yeah, this is Brianna Bias. I am in Mount Zion in Huntington County right now, just kind of south in our coverage area. Right now we're just we're just passing into Wells County, literally as I speak, and you can see right there that there are just really thick clouds. There's been a little bit of sprinkling, but so far not any really heavy rain at the moment, and you can see even those trees right there, not even heavy winds, but as David was saying just a few minutes ago, just because it's calm right now doesn't mean it's necessarily going to stay that way. David was saying that these storms can hit you just within, minutes of things being really calm into all of a sudden you being in a severe storm. So David was just explaining a few minutes ago where your safe space is. You want to stay away from any windows, even though it can be tempting to maybe want to look at the storm if it does come through your area. You want to stay in a safe space away from windows. You really don't want to be in a car like we are right now, and you don't want to be in a mobile home. Now, we're going to head right now to Pinedo, where you were saying earlier that there's been reports of golf ball-sized hail, which that's where we're heading right now. And for now, we will send it back to you, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more.
All right, so we do have a new tornado warning. We've been discussing this cell. In fact, we kind of told you that there's a chance that this warning would come out, and this covers Mercer County in Ohio. That's just west of Adams County. This warning runs until 7:15. We have a radar-indicated tornado located 7 miles northwest of Coldwater, and this is moving east at 45 miles per hour. Again, in addition to the tornado, we're watching this cell for hail as well. We have golf ball-sized hail associated with this storm, and as this storm moves to the east, we're looking at it impacting the cities of Salina, Coldwater, St. Henry, Rockford, and more. So if you're watching us in Mercer County and you're in this warning, go ahead, take your safe spot. We've been watching this storm for a while. It's had tornado warnings on it now for a good hour and a half, and we're still watching that rotation on radar. Beverly, it almost looks like it's.
It definitely has circulation to it. So if we put a loop on this, we're going to throw a loop on it. Here we go. Well, making it work here. Throw in a loop on it, and you can see kind of the curve into it in this system. And this is where we've been watching ever since about 5 o'clock when it started in the far western portions of Grant County, near Converse, honestly, in Swayze. So this has continued to maintain its characteristics. And this is when we don't like to see the greens and the reds together and having that pivot, or shall I say rotation with it. And you mentioned the National Weather Service chat said it's a radar indicated rotation, but that doesn't mean that you let your guard down whatsoever. And this tornado warning is until 7:15 this evening. And again, this is for Mercer County, all of Mercer County, my friend. So if you live in Salina, Coldwater, what were the other two?
We're looking at St. Henry, Rockford, Wabash, Chickasaw, any of those counties. Like you said, if you're in Mercer County and you're watching us, go ahead and find your tornado safe space, because you've just fallen under a tornado warning. Like we said too, that storm that originated just outside of our viewing area and tracked across our viewing area, still healthy, still capable of producing a tornado.
Okay, and I'm going to put a tracker on this really quickly. He mentioned that it's going east at about 45 miles per hour, and we're talking about how it was going 70. So now it's slowed down its forward speed. So we'll put a tracker on it. Right now, it's in between Ohio 118 and 49, just to the west of Salina. And the area of rotation of concern, we're going to put a tracker on that. You mentioned to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So Neptune at about 659 if it keeps its current path. But we've been talking about respecting the polygon, and what that really means is if you're in the area or the vicinity of the polygon, you do want to be in your safe spot, because tornadoes don't always just go to the east or go to the southeast. They also make a northeasterly trajectory too. So that is why we have that polygon box and why everybody needs to be safe and get to your safe spot with this system. And again, it is a tornado warning for Mercer County until 7:15.
And in addition, you said to that northeast track, tornadoes tend to wobble a little bit, so it's not a perfect northeast track, and there's no way to tell. You know, you may not think you're in the path of that tornado, but that wobble could push it off its path a little bit and take it towards you. So again, if you're anywhere within this polygon, play it safe and go ahead and take shelter.
Yeah, and not only have we been dealing with the strong and gusty winds, but you can just certainly see with this, the lightning strikes, the electrically charged cell that this actually is.
That's
and
prolific lightning.
Exactly. It's a very loud and bright system, or shall I say cell. And then you can see these dark purples and reds. This is very heavy rainfall that's coming down to the surface. So even if it's not producing a tornado, you wouldn't even see it, because it could be rain wrap, shall I say.
Some of those purples too, we've been watching these cells for very large hail, and that can indicate some hail at times as well with some of these storms as you get right into the core of that cell.
Okay, we're going to go back to velocity. Remember when we said it was wobbling? And now it's heading towards a Salina. It had that little wobble, and you can just see it on that past few loops of the radar as it has shifted. So if you're hearing our voices and we're talking about this tornado warned cell for Mercer County, you can see the inflow and outflow. And when I say that, that's the greens and reds. And the closer together and the brighter those colors are, that's when you have a tightening up. And when you have that tightening up, that's where the potential for a tornado could drop down and reach the surface. And that is kind of what we're seeing on the northwest side of Salina, Ohio, as this cell continues to progressively track to the east at about 45 miles per hour. We're going to check chat software real quick to see if we have any updates on this particular cell in our National Weather Service office, and we have not had any updates with this particular cell, but we're going to keep close tabs on it. If I zoom in really close, it's just to the south and east of Shively and to the north and west of Salina, between Ohio 118 and 127. Those are the two spots that we're looking at. Be in your safe spot. And we've been talking about safe spot. If you're just now tuning in, I'm alongside meteorologist David Tillmans. We've been watching and monitoring this system since about 5 o'clock this afternoon. It's developed along a very strong frontal boundary, and we've been talking about safe spot and what you do. You want to take cover now. You're in that tornado warning box. box until 7:15 Mercer County. Move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a very sturdy building. Avoid the windows. If you're in a mobile home vehicle, move into the closest shelter. If you're hearing that tornado warning over the airwaves of a radio or what have you, pull over, get into your gas station, and I've done it before, get into the freezer. That is the safest spot to be in a tornado warned area. That's very safe to be. Nonetheless, if you're in the lowest floor of your interior room, you certainly want to protect your head and your feet. Always put your shoes on, protect your head with whether it be a helmet or some pillows, blankets, coats, you name it. Always protect yourself from flying debris. And do we have any updates on this particular cell, David?
Not this particular cell, but real quick, if we may, we do have still some other storms around the area. I want to quickly bring attention to a new severe thunderstorm warning for Grant County. This is for a storm that's moving northeast at 50 miles per hour, currently located near the town of Swayze. In addition to 60 mile per hour winds, the National Weather Service has included a considerable tag for this for the hail threat. Hail up to golf ball sized hail with this storm, and again, that is moving northeast at this time. It's currently located about 11 miles southwest of Marion, so that's going to move towards Marion as it moves northeast into Huntington County here in the next several minutes or so.
Okay, so we're going to put a tracker on that cell because that's significant hail that we're seeing out of that particular cell. And you see the white that you're seeing on radar. You're like, what is that? That's actually the hail core of this particular cell. And he said it was moving to the northeast correct, at about 45 miles per hour. So we're going to put a tracker on it. Gas City in its current path at about 7:03, so in about 5-ish minutes. And then Arcania in about 7:08, Jaden at about 7:10. So very heavy downpours, very large hail, and you said gusts upwards to about 60 miles per hour associated with this cell as well. And we don't want to denounce what else is happening across the area. I do want to reiterate that we do have that tornado watch in effect until midnight, mostly from Fort Wayne and points off to the south until about midnight. And it's the simple reason being it's because it's along a frontal boundary. We've had a lot of moisture source for this particular system, and it's honestly had enough energy to sustain, because we've been talking about that tornado warned cell that is currently in Mercer County. It started off towards Converse and Swayze, tracked all across our southern tier counties, and is now in Mercer. And it's packing quite a punch. You can see a lot of lightning associated with this, and even if I take that lightning off, you can also see torrential downpours. This is the same area that also saw up to 2 inches earlier today, so watch out for ponding on the roadways. I hope you're in your safe space, considering you are in that tornado warning area. Mendon, St. Mary's, be on the lookout. Salina right now as we speak, and we're going to throw a velocity on that too. So this looks a little better to me. It's broadening out, it's stretching out. So when you see the colors kind of stretch out a little bit, that means it's losing its punch. It might actually be in what we like to call a rinse cycle, where it kind of gets its bearings back together. We're certainly still going to closely monitor this, and we have not had any updates on this particular cell, correct?
Not at this time, that is correct.
Not at this time, and it's still moving to the east.
Yes, it is still moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour.
All right, I'm going to put a tracker on it really quickly. We're going to change this out to make sure it reflects the 45 miles per hour in and around the Salina area. This is kind of the area that we've continued to watch along 29, just over Salina right now. And if it keeps its current path going to the east, St. Mary's, you're the next stop if it continues on. So St. Mary's, 7:06 arrival time. Granted, you are not in the polygon, but we've been talking about how it's continuously held on to its characteristics, and there's enough fuel to continue to basically feed these storms for lesser terms, shall I say. And again, this is towards Salina, where we've continued to see radar indicated rotation, and a new Knoxville right around 7:09 if it keeps its current path going east at about 45 miles per hour. And that warning box through Mercer County is until about 7:15. Do you have anything to add?
Just a couple minutes ago, the National Weather Service updated this warning. Still radar indicated rotation, and it is still moving east at 45 miles per hour. The storm was located 2 miles west of Salina, and we're also watching the storm for half-dollar sized hail.
Okay, so we're going to continue to monitor this situation. It hasn't changed, and we're going to keep very close tabs.